Okay. Oh, this is rendered like this, I think, because in the shader the emission is turned on previously, which was plugged to just the eyes. Okay, let's find the shader and just put the emission to 0. That should render with the proper color. Okay, that is cooked. Okay, so now before we continue, there's one thing I want to have a look. Now, if I go back to this image, you'll see this edge of this water is a bit super bright, right? In comparison, it's because it's sampling the HDRI directly behind. There's nothing occluding or blocking this edge. So we need to kind of create like a ground geo. Um, okay, let me actually pull that up as well. So we kind of give, in case our water is not too bright. So basically, I'm going to hide our boat, our ship. I'm going to do another render. And I guess we can do this one here. Flip proxy. Okay, so I'm just going to render the flip proxy by itself. Okay. Now this is too bright. It's almost like there's a light source inside, right? It's mainly because there's a super bright light coming from all directions. Nothing is occluding this. So we need to create a little bit of a light blocker, which I call literally light blocker. And I'm gonna drop this in. I guess I can put this in here. So this is nothing but a big. So look, let's do this way. I'm pulling in the render grid, and I'm pulling in the bounds, and I'm just doing a boolean. Okay. Now this is roughly, very closely, roughly the shape of our ocean, of our the ocean minus the simulation area. So now I'm gonna make sure that this is set to matte enabled and alpha set to 0. And I'll make this a part of this render. I'm going to leave this as force matte blocker. Okay, now I'm going to render this layer again. Where did it go? Here. Snap. Now this should be blocking all the light coming from directions that are, so on the left side it's coming, but we have our boat. But if you look at this edge here, in the new render, it's more closer to our ocean values, right? Now, the other thing that we need to figure out is how to get this fall off attribute coming from here. So it gives us a little bit of a chance to comp this together a bit more better. Okay, sorry. Before that, we need to do one more thing, is the depth shading. So right now our water is infinitely deep, and do we need that one? I think we do. So this one I call the ocean far, which is not really far, but I'm going to call it ocean floor actually. And it's at minus 50 meters. Okay, and this has just some blue color. Maybe we can make it a bit darker. Maybe like this. Okay, and maybe desaturate it a little bit. Okay, something like this, I guess. Now, let's take this one as well. So this one is Phantom, and in Houdini, or you can do it math as well because it's at the bottom, but just another way of saying Phantom is allow me to affect everything in the scene, but let's actually, I don't want to cast shadows as well. Actually, it can because there's a light coming from the bottom, but make sure that I'm not visible to the camera. So when I render, let's bring in our blocker as well. No, it's where is it? Ocean floor. Okay. Accept. Let's hit render. Oh, we didn't pin the other one. Okay, so this one would be a bit more useful if the camera was like super high, because we can give it a bit of a nice shading to our um, ocean, but I guess we would have to give it a bit of more random color overall. Actually, let's give that a try so it can look cool. Maybe attribute. I'm going to use attribute noise. Not this small. Make it bigger. Not the amplitude. My bad. The size. Maybe even bigger. Let's look through the camera. So there's some hue variations here and there, right? I guess we could actually, if we do this CD, we can put a color sub. Maybe let's do it here. Let's put a color sub here, so we can ramp it again to something else. Maybe not black and white, but maybe a little bit of a blue, a little bit of green. Oh, this one doesn't override it because it's already coming in here, so we need to do something like this, I guess. Okay, let's just do it ourselves. Just easier. Let's put a point up. Okay, let's do a turbulent noise. Sometimes I try to use the new tools and I get stuck. This thing doesn't move, so we can put a noise here. Let's make this big, which means let's make the frequency small. Oop, still too big. Yeah, maybe I think it's still. I think we could go even smaller. Okay, I think this is better. Now I'm gonna go simple shading. Um, Now I'm gonna put a ramp parameter and give it the color I want. Like I said, maybe. Oh, I think it crashed. It did. Is it this one? Yeah, it is. Okay, let's open it again. Hopefully we preserve the crash file. I believe it's this one. Yep. Let's make sure we save. Okay, we're gonna give this a different color. Maybe a little bit blue. We're gonna have to play with these colors, but it's fine. Maybe a little bit darker here. Maybe a little bit of green here to give it a bit different haze. I think this color is too bright. Maybe something like this. Okay, now let's try to see if our shading, and I'm gonna work that on the ocean render. We're gonna use ocean floor. Now based on the transparency of our ocean shader, we should get some variations on the water color. Let's set the render camera, ocean render, yes. And let's find our shader also. Okay, so I believe our depth is at 50. So if I do this 60, it's gonna make any difference. I'm not even sure, but I think it should. Maybe not in this angle again, but let's try. What if yeah, it's fully transparent. Okay, if I put the scatter anisotropy, I think then I do get some variation, and I think I like it more because it looks, there's a little bit of a different feel to it. Haven't played much with the dispersion. I think there's a little bit of a nice touch to it as well, but okay. So the basically, if I say depth to 0, it's basically not gonna do much, but I know that our object's at 50 meters, so when I put 50 meters, I get a little bit variation. Maybe I do 50. Let's do 20. Okay. Oh, 20. That's too little. Okay, this is a bit better. Maybe we can desaturate the scatter color a little bit. Okay, so it's not as much. I think I do want a little bit less of that. I just want a hint of it because deep sea. Okay, so let's do 0.1. Okay. I think it's not in a bad place. Let's leave it at that. Let's just save it. Now let's go back to our water sim that I want to get the fall off attribute out as a AOV because it's going to come in handy, which is this attribute basically. Oh, where is it? Here. Okay, and we're going to use that like a mask to do a little bit of a alpha situation. Okay, so I'm going to revert this. So this is my fall off. So put another whoop. I guess we could revert this here as well. I did a little, oh, just in between, I just did a little bit of a cleanup with the attributes. We have some additional attributes which we don't need. So I don't need fall off and vorticity. But I do want to output this fall off bind export. So if I check this fall off attribute again here, oh, what's happening? Let me double check the fall off here. Color, ramp, fall off. Okay, I do want an opposite of this as a fall off mask. Okay, so I'm gonna come here. I'm gonna plug. If I plug this here, this is the reversed one. Okay, so I do want this to come out as a mask from my render. So then I'm gonna say here maybe for edge mask. Let's call it edge mask. Okay, and I want this guy to be exported. So if I come here, I want to be able to render this. If I go here, render camera, and I think I did a couple things. Let's turn this on, deformation blur. I believe this needs to be turned on. Instance and particles blur without having instances here. Now in here, I turned off the discard, no, not use attributes because I do my attribute cleanup, and I know that I'm going to use this edge mask. Well, I'm not going to use the fall off anymore. You can get rid of that. But I'm gonna need the N and P and velocity and velocity. Now export connective. This is only required if you're going to displace. Compress file. Yes, keeping some files. I don't need this anymore. Ignore the object nodes, visibility and exclusion files. If you think, because it's very easy to forget what you have done here. So I'm going to turn this on, let's say, so it's visible. And everything else here is correct. I believe I have my material assigned, which is water, and water material should be outputting an AOV called fall off. No, we're gonna call this now edge mask. Okay, and that should be it for now. Let's have a look. Let me write one frame of this, render to disk. Okay, it's writing. Cool. Now if I go out again, I'm gonna render FX render without actually just gonna use the flip proxy. So I already have this here. If I go into my AOV. So I do want to let's can you make a new one. So we need to have access to the AOV within the XR, so we can do a little bit of a comp blending to our background ocean. So in order to be able to do that, we need to press the AOV. So we add an AOV, right? By default, it's diffuse lighting. I don't need the diffuse lighting. All I want is the custom, and that usually comes from the output of the shader, and it's going to be looking for this name. Okay, so edge mask copy, go out and name it edge mask. I believe that's all we have to do for this because there is no other option. Yes, so that should be it. Expand color IOB tabs. I don't need to do that. Um, so that should be it really. Let's try it and let's see if that's gonna work. Flip proxy is using the same shader. Yes. Out. Render. FX render. For this to work, we need to render in the not the progressive mode, but the bucket mode. But let's hit render, which is also strange because it only becomes available after you press render. This is not working. It should have shown us like this area to be white. So let's investigate that. Okay, so yes, the error has been found. The attribute is called edge mask, but I'm now exporting it as edge fall off. So there was a mismatch of names that was causing very much of a confusion. So I think this should now sort it out. Let's see. After the first buckets are out. And now we have an edge fall off, so we can see a little bit of a value diminishing here and there. So we can use that to comp our object successfully back onto the plate. Not the plate, but our extended water. The other thing I think we didn't do was actually assigning the Whitewater to our spray and proxy to Whitewater and spray. So if I select the foam here, so I think I did for Whitewater foam and for spray actually missed. And if you want to give a, so let's call this one water, foam, and mist. And these are the physical objects. Keep them separate. So this is the water, foam, and mist. We have the water, and I think I'm not using any of this basically. I'm gonna pull this down. No, we have a blocker actually, but we're not using the blocker also because it's on color. Foam had the edge fall off, I think, as well, and yeah. This has a standard material here. If we need to change the, maybe the roughness and make them a little bit more specky, that might look more interesting. Mist could have the same thing. It could be a little bit more specky, full reflection. And let's do another render of the FX render and the ocean render to call it done. Oh, no, still not done. Let's go to FX render. So it's our main render. So we do also want to be able to separate some of these layers based on a cryptomat. Can come very useful, and we can do cryptomat based on node names or the material names. And right now I want to be able to actually do based on, I think based on material names is enough because we are not going full compositing. So I'm just gonna say, give me something called cryptomat based on material names, and let's have a look now what that does. We need a depth pass, obviously. We're not rendering deeps. I think that would be it. I mean, you could probably, pull in your refractions if you want to change how the watercolor refracts, and maybe change the reflections. but we're not going on full compositing here today. We're gonna try to make everything as right as possible in camera. Okay, render view. Let's try again. Fix render, hit render. Again, all the AOVs in the Redshift render view works only with the bucket mode turned on. Let's look at it. This is what it does. Give it a time to spin. So these spin times are a lot faster now because we pretty much made every heavy geometry here a proxy. Otherwise, this could have been taken a bit longer. So if I now look at diffuse, I have a diffuse. I don't need diffuse actually. Cryptomat. Okay, so this is what Cryptomat looks like. So you could inside Nuke or so in other supporting software create a selection mask using this layer. Okay, and then we will have our fall of attribute. Oh, we didn't change the output here, which we will. It's fine to make sure that we did to edge mask, right? It was there. We'll fix it. Cryptomat is here and depth is here. Well, it is there. It's super bright because of the distance, but it's definitely there. I think maybe we can even, I don't know if this affects it, but we can see it probably. No, this only affects the beauty. And okay, so our first layer seems to be done. Oh, we need to, okay. We're still not done. We keep making mistakes. So let's first fix that AOV, which is called edge material, which is called the edge fall off. So it doesn't matter what you're bringing. It's important how you export it out. So this is the one that could be, no, it's this one. We don't need this, so that's gonna work. Depth, edge follow from cryptomat. Okay, so that should be okay. Now the next thing is that what we did here, ocean floor comes to here, and the mat object as not the mat, but the blocker. Out. Okay, so if I finally do one more render, okay, that's waiting. Okay, rendering. Let's look at our AOVs. Edge fall off is there. Oh, this requires a little action. For the foam layer edge fall off, we need to also export it so we can do the same fall. I mean, we'll never have water. Well, actually, we will. Um, Edge fall off is only working on the geometry, not on the particles. So we do need to export the particles with the same attributes so we kind of get a similar result on the particles. Otherwise, we'll have to render the edge fall off by itself. So we could apply it on top. But because we're running them together, and that's why it's giving us this, it's because here on the bottom right, you're going to see the fall off is already happening, but not on the particles. So that's not going to affect that one. So we need to fix that as well, which means first we need to find out how we are rendering this guy with this, not this one, Whitewater foam comes here. So edge fall off is here. So it's supposed to work, but it's not working because it's not edge fall off anymore. So because I copied the shader from my previous sim, we need to come back here. Check our Whitewater here, and we don't have that value. And this is our fall off. And I guess we're deleting it. Oh, yes, we are. Okay, but let's keep things consistent. Water sim. We keep this name as edge mask here. So I'm gonna do the same thing here. Maybe a little bit attribute rename. Oh, we can do this here. F at edge mask equals F at fall off. Actually, this will just create a new attribute, keep the old, oh, the particle scale was there. I'm just gonna do an attribute rename instead of fall off. Attribute rename. Fall off is now called edge mask. Fall off. It's a point attributes here. Why is it not doing it? Invalid attribute fall off not found. Did I type it wrong? Fall off is a point attribute. Is it really that late here? Um, Come on, Houdini. What are you doing? What if I say p scale to attribute 2? So that works. What if I say fall off? Okay, so that one was just confused, I guess. Edge mask. Okay, edge mask. Now let's. It's connected to the shader. No, let's get that updated as well. So make sure that it doesn't throw it away, which is called foam. So I'm going to apply the foam attribute here. Okay, and I'm going to say whether you're using edge mask into edge fall off. Okay, good. And if I go again, oops, write out a single frame of this. Oh, this, did I select this a particle? Yes, I did. Oh, this needs to be turned on. Okay, render to, oh, this is because skipping frame exists. So it's gonna write it now. Okay, let's double check. Now everything should be up to date now. Okay, render frame. Let's go. Okay, you're just gonna wait a bit more. Obviously, particles are taking a bit longer. And it didn't work. Why? Let's just focus on the Whitewater proxy now. So I'm gonna just render ocean render. Okay, just not the ocean render. No, don't. Okay, let's not break this one. Let's make another one. FX render one. Let's just test the proxy and okay. Let me double check if I made a mistake. I would like to have the edge fall of attribute on www proxy. Maybe is it the override user data? I'm not sure, but let's try it anyway. Everything else should be in accordance. I have the foam, and I'm trying to output this edge mask, which is edge fall off, unless the values are wrong. So let's double check the values as well. Because we didn't visualize it, but because here looks 0. No, it's not. Okay. color, ramp, edge mask. We want to reverse this. Which was edge mask from here. Okay, bind, export, we'll do the same thing. Let's just get it done here. Edge mask, like on the other place, and I'm gonna make sure that it stays that way by getting rid of this. Okay, it's still 0 because I deleted it here, and I don't really need this anymore this time. And it gets a little bit dark there, and I think maybe it's okay now. Let's render to disk. So many little buttons that we have to make sure that everything's correct. Okay, let's look from the camera. I think that is it. Let's try again. I'm pretty certain that's okay. Let's try this later, just in case. Oh, this is needs to be outputting it, and it is. Okay, it's bright here, it's darker here. I think it's working now. Yeah, I honestly think maybe these particles are a little bit big compared to what we see here. So I think we could do them a bit small, but I would have probably changed that after I see this like a full frame range. See if it bothers me, then I'll change probably the particle size. Maybe a touch smaller. It's a bit too bright. Okay, so I don't need you anymore. FX render is good. Well, I can't do the full frame range now because I need to bake these two proxies again due to the changes, which I don't have now. But if I did, I'll do a full frame range, and basically after that, we can open it up and do a little bit of a first update on our scene. And I think that's what I'll do. But when the renders are finished, we're gonna do a little snap comp for our shot. If you don't want, if this is bothering you, these boxes, you can switch to mesh or none, but that's usually loading those back takes a while, so I don't use them. I'm just gonna set it to none. And maybe the lighting, I guess I don't see this also. Okay, so I'm gonna rebake those proxies and then render the shot 10 overnight. Well, it's gonna take probably like 1 hour or 2 hours, but then we'll see you in the next lesson. Bye for now.